Go on. Bikrishta. This particular video is actually just going to be about the dramas. I'm going to do other videos about food, music, and stuff, maybe. Now, I'm sorry. The only cultures I've really had enough time to know personally is Chinese culture, Japanese culture, Korean culture. Those are the only three. Those are the big three in my part of town, so there you go. But this is going to show the differences between the three kinds of TV dramas in Korea, China, Japan.
There's something to be said about the power of these shows. These characters were usually icons. They were borrowed from comics and folklore and novels. But even if they weren't icons, these actors knew how to provide that relentless tension, the 1, 2, 3 act format, the attention to story detail, these aggravating cliffhangers, the manipulation of emotion, the irony. But there are certain ways that each society did it a little differently than the others. Certain trends seem to pervade. Now, I don't intend to do a review of all these shows. I can't do them justice, but I'll give my general foreigner perspective. Hana Yori Dango. Now, this one was a very popular one, particularly the second one. Now, you have to understand something about series. Not all series all over the world are the same.
In many parts of the world, you got a series that lasts about 10 to 15 episodes, and then you're done. And that's a series. You're done. And then, if they like what they see, they give you a second season, maybe about a year or so later when they figure out what they're going to do. So Hana Yoridango has a recurring theme. It's all about how status and clout and being cool doesn't get you as far as being a person with integrity. And the first one shows that, but that series dealt with the introduction to characters and things like that, and it was sort of more about the love story. The second one really dealt with that theme in a darker way, and the characters were fighting amongst themselves about it, and it was a little deeper. The backstory and the irony of whether or not you know why the main male character has trouble understanding things or remembering things, and the female lead doing a fantastic job of making this character that was already dealt with in the first season even more interesting. It's a really well done series, both seasons.
And then you've got Trick, or Trick in Japanese.
And it is the funniest mystery drama I've ever seen in my life, no matter what the language, country, doesn't matter. Trick is about villains that pretend to be mystical or supernatural or new age or something, and you have to debunk them. And the ways that they debunk them isn't like, so and so has the candlestick in the bedroom or something like that. It's like, what kind of cold readings are they doing? What are they doing when they lift a playing card up with their thumb? Little minutia, and they solve the cases like that. And you can actually think at home whether or not you've seen similar cases in real life that could be debunked in the same way. It was the coolest thing, and they reran it a bunch of times. I will say this though about Japanese dramas: there are three unusual traits that I see that single them out. I gotta say, it makes them interesting. The first one, you always have to have a guy with weird moppy hair that is sad. He's everywhere. There's always the moppy-headed sad guy in every Japanese drama. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, I've seen that in Korean dramas, too. I'm sorry. There's a bit of emulation there. It's a little emulation. Because the Japanese dramas all have this. And the second thing you gotta have, you always have to have a cliffhanger that makes you really, really confused. You don't know what's gonna happen. It's not like a Korean cliffhanger. Most Korean cliffhangers are kind of the same. Like, you got this one over here. You got this show. It's a romantic drama called Lovers in Paris, and every cliffhanger of that one is the same. It's always two guys, they always meet, or it's somebody who was unexpectedly there. What are you doing here? Dun dun dun, and then they fade. But the Japanese drama is different. You really don't know what's coming. You don't know why somebody's there. It's almost like, okay, it's happy, it's happy, it's happy, it's happy. People having fun. Alien, and cut to black. You never know what the next season or episode's going to be like. And the third thing, I only see this in Japanese drama. I call it the after-school special. The after-school special speech, really. There's always one character in almost every episode that, out of nowhere, has this completely unrealistic and very detailed and philosophical angry speech. And it always starts out the same way. It's usually the slick-haired guy who's upset. Hey, Kenji, what do you think you're doing? Have you forgotten the promise you made to your family? To your friend? To me? Don't you know that the value of one life is equal to the efforts of 1,000 warriors? Stop acting like a stupid child. Don't go. And then they just walk away. And it's always a character who, when you're watching it, you're sitting there like, where did you come from? Or like, why are you so upset all of a sudden? What's your problem? Did I miss a scene? Well, what happened? I love that. And this is personal. For some reason, I'll like be sad at the end of a drama. It doesn't matter what the Japanese drama is. Even if I'm not even all that interested really in it. Like, Hanayori Dango, like I said, is a romance. And I'm not a romantic guy. I'm not into that stuff. But my wife liked it, like I said in an earlier video. And she just loves the thing. And I was watching the episodes. And even I was getting into it. I was like, don't you know she loves you? And all that BS. And it got so intense at the last episode. And I was really upset the next day. Because I was like, I can't get to watch it anymore. I mean, I think it was well acted, and the script was kind of, I thought it was well written, but that's not my show. That's not my kind of show.
And then you had Brother Beat, and that was more for the guys, you know.
And by the end, I was really upset. I can't watch my Brother Beat anymore. This is unfair. Okay, so what's the moral of this story? What's the point of all this? Well, you know, there are three things that I noticed about Japanese dramas that are really cool. One of them is this relentless belief in an ideal. No matter what, the ideal, the integrity of self is really an integral part of a lot of the dramas, at least all the ones I've seen.
Tsukushima, for instance, is always about not fitting in, but for people to accept her as who she is. Chiaki Shin Ichi is very interesting because he has to take his two ideals, which are musical perfectionism and musical enjoyment, and find some way to meet somewhere in the middle without sacrificing either.
The second thing is I've seen that there's always this belief that if you do things that are just for the sake of yourself, it's an affront to everybody else. It's an offense. Third thing, it's interesting. If you look at a Korean drama and it's a love story, the guy and the girl get together and they might kiss before even the 4th episode. Japanese dramas, they may never kiss. It's interesting. The belief in love, it's a transcendental thing. It's never just cute, unless it's made fun of, unless they're poking fun at it. They take real love real serious. Let's just say it works real good on TV, but definitely one to shoot for. And I think that's what makes the dramas so addictive. More than the cliffhangers and the good acting and the good story and all that stuff. Or not, I don't know. Anyway, you're going to see another video about Korea. Trust me, I'm going to do the Korean one. I'm going to do the Chinese one. It takes a lot to explain my feelings about Japan, Korea, China. So look for that, and I'll see. Part 2 coming up.